Can Kling really keep one character's face consistent across 10 completely different movie shots? That is the challenge we are testing today. I created one main character, then placed that person into close-ups, wide shots, dramatic lighting, emotional scenes, fast movement, and different locations. The goal is simple. The face should still look like the same actor from beginning to end. This sounds easy, but face consistency is one of the biggest problems in AI filmmaking. A character may look perfect in the first shot, then suddenly appear older, younger, or like a different person in the next scene. Even small changes in camera angle, expression, hairstyle, or lighting can break the illusion. I will generate 10 cinematic shots and compare the eyes, nose, jawline, skin tone, and overall identity in every result. Some shots will be simple, while others are designed to push Kling to its limit. By the final shot, we will know whether Kling can maintain one believable character or whether the face starts falling apart. Before testing 10 different shots, I first needed to create one character that Kling could recognize and repeat. I started with a clear reference image showing the face from the front, with balanced lighting, a neutral expression, and no objects covering important features. The eyes, nose, jawline, hairstyle, and skin tone all needed to be easy for the model to read. Next, I wrote a detailed character description and kept it consistent in every prompt. I used the same age range, facial structure, hair, clothing style, and overall appearance each time. I also avoided adding unnecessary details that could confuse the model or change the character's identity. To make the test fair, I locked the main visual traits before changing the camera angle, location, lighting, or action. This gave Kling one stable identity to follow across all 10 scenes. Now the real test begins. Because creating one good face is easy. Keeping that exact face consistent when everything else changes is where most AI video tools start to struggle. For the first 3 shots, I tested whether Kling could preserve the same face while the camera moved around the character. Shot 1 was a straight close-up with soft lighting and a neutral expression. This gave me a clean baseline, because every important facial feature was clearly visible. In shot 2, I changed the camera to a 3/4 angle. This is where small inconsistencies often appear. The shape of the eyes, nose, cheeks, and jaw can shift when the face is no longer viewed from the front. Kling kept the overall identity recognizable, but a few details looked slightly different under the new angle. For shot 3, I used a side profile close-up with stronger cinematic lighting. This was a much harder test, because half of the face was hidden and the shadows changed its structure. The character still looked connected to the original reference, but the similarity was not perfect. The first 3 shots showed that Kling can handle basic camera changes, but the face becomes less stable as the angle grows more difficult. Next, I will test something even harder, changing the character's emotions without losing the identity. Shots 4 and 5 tested whether Kling could preserve the same identity while changing the character's emotions. In shot 4, I used a subtle smile with relaxed eyes and softer facial tension. Even a small expression can change the cheeks, mouth, and jaw enough to make an AI character look different. Kling preserved the main features, although the smile slightly altered the face shape. Shot 5 pushed the test further with fear and visible tension. The eyes widened, the eyebrows lifted, and the mouth changed completely. This created a greater risk of identity drift. Kling kept the character recognizable, but the resemblance was weaker than in the neutral shots. These scenes revealed an important limit. Kling handles mild emotion better than extreme expression. The more the face moves, the harder it becomes to protect the original identity. Next, I will change the lighting, clothes, and location at the same time. For shots 6 and 7, I changed more than one element at the same time. Shot 6 placed the character in a dark city street wearing a black jacket under strong neon lighting. The new clothes and colored shadows made the face look sharper and slightly more mature. Kling preserved the main identity, but some smaller details, especially around the eyes and jawline, began to shift. Shot 7 moved the character into a bright indoor location with formal clothing and soft daylight. This created a completely different visual style from the previous scene. The skin tone, hairstyle, and general face shape remained familiar, although the character did not look perfectly identical. These tests showed that Kling performs better when only one feature changes at a time. When clothing, lighting, and location all change together, face consistency becomes harder to control. The identity was still recognizable, but the differences were becoming easier to notice. Next, I will test fast action and complex movement. Shots 8 and 9 were designed to push Kling beyond controlled poses and simple camera movements. In shot 8, the character ran through a crowded street while the camera tracked from the side. Fast motion introduced blur, changing shadows, and constant shifts in the face angle. Kling maintained the general identity in the clearer frames, but some facial details became softer whenever the movement increased. Shot 9 created an even harder challenge. The character turned quickly toward the camera during a dramatic action scene, with moving hair, intense lighting, and background motion happening at the same time. The face remained recognizable at the start, but brief moments showed noticeable changes around the eyes, mouth, and jawline. These shots prove that motion is one of the biggest threats to face consistency. Kling performs well when the face stays visible and movement remains controlled, but complex action can cause temporary identity drift. Only one shot remains, and it will combine the most difficult elements from every previous test. For shot 10, I combined the most difficult elements from every previous test into one final cinematic sequence. The character stood in heavy rain at night wearing different clothes, while flashing lights changed the appearance of the face. The camera began with a wide shot, moved rapidly toward the character, and ended with an emotional close-up as the character turned and looked directly into the lens. This test forced Kling to handle movement, changing angles, dramatic lighting, wet hair, facial emotion, and a new environment at the same time. During the wider frames, the identity remained fairly stable because fewer facial details were visible. But as the camera moved closer, small differences appeared around the eyes, nose, and jawline. Even with these changes, Kling managed to keep the character recognizable through most of the sequence. The result was not perfectly identical to the original reference, but it was convincing enough to feel like the same actor. Now it is time to compare all 10 shots and reveal the final verdict. After comparing all 10 shots side by side, the result is clear. Kling can maintain one character's identity across a cinematic sequence, but it cannot guarantee a perfectly identical face in every frame. In the controlled shots, especially the front-facing close-up and three-quarter angle, the character remained highly recognizable. The eyes, hairstyle, skin tone, and facial structure stayed close to the original reference because the lighting was balanced and the face remained visible. The first noticeable changes appeared during the side profile test. The character still looked connected to the reference, but the nose, jawline, and proportions shifted slightly. A subtle smile worked well, while fear and stronger tension caused more identity drift, because several features changed at once. The biggest inconsistencies appeared when multiple variables changed together. New clothing alone was manageable, and a different location did not break the identity. But when clothing, lighting, camera angle, emotion, and background changed in one scene, Kling struggled to protect the original face. Fast action made this more visible. Some frames looked accurate, while others briefly changed the eyes, mouth, or jaw. Shot 10 confirmed the same pattern. Kling preserved the illusion of one actor through most of the sequence, but close inspection revealed small differences. The face never completely transformed into another person, which is a major success. However, it also did not remain perfectly locked to the original reference. At normal playback speed, most viewers may find the sequence convincing. Frame by frame, the inconsistencies become easier to notice. So, can Kling keep one face consistent across 10 movie shots? The honest answer is yes, but only under the right conditions. It performs best with a clear reference image, the same character description in every prompt, specific hairstyle and facial details, and only one major change at a time. Controlled camera movement, moderate expressions, and clear lighting produce the strongest results. For better consistency, generate several versions of each shot instead of accepting the first result. Choose the version that matches the reference most closely, use shorter action movements, and keep the face visible whenever possible. You can also use the strongest frame from one scene as the reference for the next to reduce sudden identity changes. Kling is not a perfect digital casting system, but it can already create believable short sequences with a recurring character. With careful planning, repeated generations, smart prompting, and selective editing, the results can be strong enough for trailers, short films, advertisements, and YouTube content. The final verdict is that Kling passed the consistency challenge, but not without limitations. It kept the character recognizable across all 10 shots, Yet the identity became less stable as the scenes grew more complex. Human selection and editing are still essential. If this test helped you understand Kling's strengths and weaknesses, like the video, subscribe, and share your result in the comments. In the next video, we will test whether the same character can speak and deliver dialogue without losing facial consistency.